Hey guys, it's Annie. Today I wanted to discuss unsolved murder mysteries, because those are my gems and I really enjoy looking them up and talking about them. So the first case I'm gonna talk about involves a woman named Jamie Santo. She is an exotic dancer. Basically that's all you kind of need to know. It's not there, I don't really know tons of information about her because there's not really any available. So Jamie, she was killed by no one knows. So the police in her area, where was she from? I think Illinois. The police in her area where she lives got a call from a stranger, a guy. It was a man. He called and he was basically saying there's an unconscious woman at such and such address and you need to go and see what's wrong with her or help her or whatever. Before they could ask any other questions, the phone was hung up, and when they got to the scene there was no one at the payphone. There was no one in sight, so they went to the apartment and she was dead. She was murdered. She was strangled, and her cause of death was that she was strangled by, suffocated from a pillow and strangled. To this day, the police don't really know what happened to her. All they know is that she was killed. They don't know who by. They never found any DNA on the body. They tried to ask neighbors around her area or people that were kind of places near the payphone, like did they see any kind of guy go into the payphone, leave the payphone, walk into the area, just like they tried to ask who this guy was so maybe they could find out who killed her. So the police, the police in her area, the theories were that the guy that called from the payphone was the actual killer, and no one really knows who he is. So the Illinois police tried to find this man. They never found this guy. They don't know who he is. The weird thing about it is that Jamie Santo, she actually, as they were doing background checks on her and stuff like that, they actually found out she did not go to work the previous day. She actually had a full schedule, but she ended up canceling everything for the day that she died. So they're kind of theorizing maybe she knew something was gonna happen. You know how you get a strange feeling in your gut and you're just like, you know what, let me just do this or do that before, you know what I'm saying, you just get a bad feeling. So they were just kind of thinking maybe she was possibly being taunted or maybe like stalked or something, and she was kind of getting a bad feeling, so that's why she canceled everything. The people at her job where she worked, they didn't really report that she was acting different or anything. They just said that she hadn't really been at work, and the police kind of got theorized that maybe someone from her job killed her. They never really kind of zoomed in, they never really had a suspect at the time. They never had a suspect. They still don't have a suspect. It is a very cold case, and yeah, I've seen that Jamie Santo case on the television, and whenever they would mention that she canceled everything beforehand, I always kind of got maybe a feeling that maybe she knew that something bad was gonna happen, and maybe she was afraid to tell someone, or maybe she just didn't know exactly what that bad thing was. But yeah, the case I want to tell you guys about, it is about a man named Jack Davis Jr. He was a student in Pennsylvania. One night he was found dead in a stairwell at his school. When the police got there, they did their investigating. They trying to find DNA evidence and all stuff like that. So it turned out he died from suffocation. The coroner and the detectives just put together that he died by fainting and choking on his own vomit. As time went on and they did different tests, it turns out that he did not have any food in his system, so they were kind of like, how did he throw up? There was nothing there. So the case kind of went blank for a while because there was no new evidence. So this is when it gets a little bit more dramatic. a few years later, they did another medical screen, not a medical screen, but a new autopsy. They reviewed the autopsy, and they did another one, and they found out that he had 3 different skull fractures. And they were just like, how did we miss that? You know, we did this some years back, we never saw anything. Where did this come from? So they came to the conclusion that possibly that Jack was in a fight earlier that night when he died, and his attack, like, they never really came to the conclusion of why he possibly got into this fight. But suppose he got into a fight, and they fractured his skull. They're basically beating him to death. And when the attackers saw that he wasn't getting up after they basically killed this man, they were just like, you know what, we're just gonna dump his body and we're gonna bounce. The police never discovered what happened to Jack Davis Jr. His parents don't know. It's still a cold case. No one ever knows what happened to him. It's just a really big mystery, because first of all, how does the coroner and the detectives not notice three skull fractures? For the most part, you would at least see that in the autopsy. Why didn't you see it the first time? Why was that? You know, why did that happen? So that was a cold case. It's never been solved. There was no DNA. I don't know if they ever checked the surveillance footage at the school, or maybe they didn't have it. The surveillance cameras at the certain area where the stairwell they were at, but they never knew what happened. There was no DNA on him. There was no, so they don't really know whatever happened to Jack. So all they know that he died from some type of suffocation, whether it was on his own vomit or the attackers choked him or something. They don't really know. So that is a very sad unsolved case, and I hope someday they solve this case and the case before that about Jamie Santo. It's just wow. Last case I want to talk about is another very interesting cold case. It's about this man named Blair Adams. Blair Adams is a young Canadian construction worker. He felt that someone was following him, stalking him, and he was getting a little paranoid about it. So his original reaction is to get out of Canada. He tried to cross the American border, but the problem was he withdrew everything from his savings accounts, his checking account, and he was finna bounce. He's finna go. And as soon as he got to the border, they were like, you're not gonna come over because you have tons of money in your car. We see it, it's right here. You're finna cross the border, because they originally thought he was like a drug trafficker or something like that. So he ended up buying a round trip ticket to Germany, and he stayed there for a while, and he came back to Canada, his original place, and he rented a car, and he ended up driving over the border to Seattle. So while he was in Seattle, he still kind of felt like someone was watching him, stalking him, following him, watching his every move. Then he got another ticket. He flew one way to Washington DC, and then he got another car and he drove to Kentucky. And in Knoxville, he went to a gas station because his car was starting up, and he was kind of like, I just drove this car, what's going on? Why can't I get in it? Why can't I turn it on? So he went to the gas station person, and they helped him out. And the gas station people told him that was the wrong key. That was the wrong key, which was very strange. Just like he was just in the car with that same key, so how the key gets switched? Like what? So of course that kind of heightened his paranoia. So so he was just like, you know what, forget the keys. So he hitchhiked to a nearby hotel. A hotel nearby. And he checked into the hotel, and then later he left the hotel. So this is when it just gets wow. So 12 hours later, his body was found in the parking lot of the hotel, and American dollars, Canadian dollars, and German marks were found all around his body. Yeah. So in my mind, I'm obviously thinking that Blair Adams was stalked, and this person that was stalking him for some unknown reason killed him, for what reason I don't know, and put all that money around him, because that's, of course, Blair, he flew to Germany, he came over to America, and he was a Canadian, so they put all that money around him just to be like, I've been stalking you all these years and you're right, and no one believed you. So that one was so sad. Like, I don't know, guys, that was really, really, really sad. And I thought it was interesting, but it was sad because, like, this man must have been so afraid to leave his home country, leave his home wherever he stayed in Canada, to go to Germany, into America, Seattle, Knoxville. I mean, like, he had to leave his place of origin because he was so afraid and scared. And I mean, you never know, maybe if he could have gotten to America the first time, when they were like, no, you have too much money in your trunk or something. I don't know where the money was, but you know, you have too much money, you could be a drug trafficker or something. You know, maybe if he got into America the first time, then possibly, I mean, he would have possibly been fine, but you never know. I mean, it's just, I wish he would have told someone. Like, if he would have called the police. I mean, there's not really much police can do when you tell them that kind of information, because, like, you know, just because. But I wish he could have gotten help or gotten some type of assistance or some kind of safety. I wish, you know, with all these cold cases or unsolved mysteries that I've, you know, talked about in this video, they're all so different. I feel like I don't exactly know the time frames that each of these murders happened, but it's just like, I feel like things could have been different if, like, the Jamie Santo case that I talked about. Maybe if there was people from her job would have been like, she hasn't been at work and she's canceled literally everything, maybe we should go check on her. And they went to her house, maybe they would have saw something or found her in time where they could have saved her. Or Jack, maybe if the place where he was killed in the stairwell, maybe if it had cameras, they would have found out who killed him or something like that. You know, it's just, I don't know, I like unsolved mysteries because they make you think, and you just try to pick out little clues, and it's like, well, maybe this was different, maybe the killer would have been found or something. It's just like, I just like unsolved mysteries because, I mean, they're cold cases and they still need to be solved. They still need to be solved. So, I mean, whether they're like 30 years old or 100 years old cases or whatever, they still need to be solved. I mean, you know, that's only fair, you know. But some of them aren't going to be solved because of just the nature of how things happened and how, you know, everything's changed. The modern world has changed so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe do you guys like unsolved murder mysteries? I do. They're my gems, obviously, like I said before. They're just interesting to read how, wow, just how things just happen. Like, it's just like, you know, whatever, you know. I hope you guys have a great day, and make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, because I try to make videos every other day, but it's just like my Wi-Fi sucks, so can't do much about that. So I'll see you guys later. Bye. Have a good day.